and welcome back to this video series, which covers year 2 of Manny's spiritual journey. Here, he portrays La Calavera Katrina, the wealthy and overdressed skeleton, better than he does at any other part of the game. He does this by playing Rick from Casablanca. In the video that you're about to watch, I will focus on the whole Rick thing. When you see why and how he plays Rick, you're gonna see that he does it to hide that he's gay. Now, I'm not gonna quite out him as gay until later. That's a Loteria card I'm going to be showing. All the Loteria cards that I find because they change the meaning of this game when you see them like this. Manny repeatedly says he doesn't love Meche, but everyone around him insists that he does. If you take the brave step of actually believing what Manny is saying, then we see his relationship with other women in this game. Carla, Lola, Inez. They all look really different, and they look a lot like his relationship with Meche. And we know he doesn't love the other women. And even Double Fine missed the fact that Manny is gay. Double Fine understood the Calavera Katrina wealthy overdressed skeleton thing, as you can see by this suit icon they use in the corner. It's gold, it represents his inventory. But the loading screen has Manny and Meche, and Tim Schafer, when I watched a video of Tim Schafer playing Grim Fandango, he was not happy with the loading screen at all. He liked the old startup thing that played some music better. So stick around and I'll show you Manny Calavera as you've never seen him before. This isn't just any white tuxedo. Manny is dressed like Rick from Casablanca.
Hey, boss. You gonna come downstairs? I got a customer asking for you.
You know I don't like to mingle with the customers.
Madam, he never drinks with customers.
Well, you may want to mingle with this one. She sounds like your type.
Ricky, you're becoming quite human. I suppose we have to thank you for that, mademoiselle.
It looks like she's seen this movie before.
Well, looks like a quiet night in old Rubacava.
And there she goes. That's Meche running down the street. But Lupe had just told him that she's there. He's got no excuse not to notice her. Is this an accident? Or is this gross negligence? You know, Rick used the antisocial line to avoid everyone except his true love. Manny uses it on Meche herself, as if she's the one he wants to avoid. The outside is quite beautiful this time of night. You can see almost every part that you're gonna visit. And every single part of this scene is going to give Manny some difficulty. This way to his gold-plated inner sanctum. He's even got some gold on the ceiling up here. I wish I knew what it depicted. I'm surprised he keeps his door open, honestly. There are 3 main objects here, the biggest of which is, of course, the work office table. That's what Manny's all about. He's all about work. The guy runs a casino, so there's not much he can do here besides his accounting. He sits down here and he figures out how much money did he take in, whom he has to bribe, and how much, what he can possibly save for some investment to make more of a profit later. And if the ends don't meet, if he is running a little bit short or wants a little bit extra, he just makes it happen.
Ah, Lady Luck.
Le numéro gagnant, le 33, noir, impair et passe. 33, black.
So if he can't make ends meet for some reason, he simply turns the tables and makes them meet. The next largest item in his room is the bed, and I'm gonna show you that just like a treadmill that nobody uses, it's completely aspirational.
Can't. What if Meche makes her big arrival and I sleep through it?
So does this really mean that he hasn't slept all year? Because she can show up at any time. Has he been working himself through exhaustion, accomplishing all of this? If anybody ever tells you that they can sleep when they're dead, remember Manny Calavera. But it's really not that surprising.
Did you have a good night's rest?
I slept very well.
That's strange. Nobody is supposed to sleep well in Casablanca.
With so many references to Casablanca, you may get the mistaken impression that this game is ripping off Casablanca. What you're really seeing is Manny being a very authentic and genuine Day of the Dead La Calavera Garbancera, or in his case, Garbancero, which is somebody that puts on a costume of a wealthy white individual. In Manny's case, it just happens to be a specific wealthy white individual. But he doesn't just cosplay Rick like a fanboy and just repeat Rick's lines. He uses the costume to his own ends and for his own purposes, differently than Rick did it. Like just now, when he used Rick's line that Rick uses to avoid showing his alcoholism to his customers, to avoid interacting with Meche herself.
Waiter,
Yes, madam?
will you ask Rick if he'll have a drink with us?
Madam, he never drinks with customers.
And yet, despite his greatest efforts, he still just looks like a Loteria card. Especially with the cigarette like that. He looks just like this dandy, except he's missing the monocle. He's probably got one, but it's lost in a bunch of spare eye patches.
No moving furniture when I'm in my tux.
See? But what I don't get is why he put that bed and the other little desk across from the big desk so he can always see them while he's working. Poor guy. I really like the subtle gold brocade pattern he's got going in the back. It's easy to miss. Somebody had to work to make all the decor in this room. Somebody had to create this fiery hell design over here. I don't think he gets a lot of visitors up here, so he must have done this entirely for himself. I wonder if he did a lot of the work himself too. Just not wearing a tux, clearly. I think he chose the colors. It seems to fit his style. I hope he finds more comfort in it than he does looking at this bed he never uses for anything. Some people have a treadmill that they look at and go, I'll use it someday when I have time. He's got a bed that he looks at like that.
Ah, to sleep. Perchance to have nightmares about spiders and beavers.
He didn't show any feelings at the time, but he's still traumatized a whole year later. There's a couple of things he doesn't have in his room. He doesn't have any ashtrays. He doesn't need them. And he doesn't have any pictures of people. He doesn't have any connections to anyone. Except one, and he's created an entire table for that correspondence. He doesn't want it to get mixed up in his dirty business.
My wartime communications from Salvador. He's been sending me messages like this for the last year.
Agent Calavera, I have word that you arrived in Rubacava safely. This is great news, as your service to the LSA may now continue. I am pleased to report the successful hatching of the eggs you liberated. The hatchlings, which Eva has named Manny and Meche, are quite healthy and eager to serve our cause. With luck, my next letter will be borne to you across the sky by these young gossamer wings of truth. For the revolution, Salvador Limones.
I'm not done reading it yet, but maybe later.
So, along with some comic book justice, they have somehow managed to turn Manny and Meche into lovebirds, thus imposing their hopes on Manny. And yet, Lupe had just told him that the real Meche is waiting for him. He's staying awake to meet her. You would think that he would actually hurry up. But if you just stay off the controls... He looks at Lupe, shakes his head, and then keeps walking past her to go see Gladys. That's the third time tonight he's avoided making Salvador and Ava's fantasy about Manny and Meche come true. He's so incredibly conflicted. He doesn't know if he's keeping himself up for a year just in case she shows up, or if he's working so hard to avoid her when she does show up. So here we see Gladys playing the piano. But is Gladys also playing Sam? Now, Sam's got that look on his face because first, he's completely forbidden to play as time goes by, even though he was once good at it.
Sam, I thought I told you never to play.
And then he's ordered to play it.
Play it once, Sam. For all time's sake.
I don't know what you mean, Miss Elsa.
Play it, Sam.
Again. While his boss emos about his lost love. And finally, this.
I'll have Sam play As Time Goes By. I believe that's your favorite tune.
Thank you.
Maybe Sam has his own lady love. If he does, he can't ever mention her because he needs to take care of Rick instead. It's a bit problematic if Manny had really imposed that role on his demon driver friend. Luckily, even though Gladys certainly looks like he's playing the role of Sam, he is really just playing the piano. As we'll see when we go down there and talk to him. Sometimes appearances can be deceiving. Did you know he can do that?
Hello, Manny.
Hola.
All of a sudden, he's not Rick anymore. This is code switching with cosplay. Maybe because Gladys isn't his intended audience for the Rick act. Now this top line is kind of untranslatable. This last word means brother in Mexican street slang. So if Manny had said it in English, he'd be a guy playing Rick calling a guy that looks like Sam brother. But in Spanish, he's being honest, he's being true to his bones, and acknowledging the similarities between him and his workaholic friend.
Quiet night, huh, carnal?
Day of the Dead ain't good for business, Chief. But last night, remember last night, Manny? Oh, wait!
But it's always the Day of the Dead here.
What's that you're playing?
Oh, this is just a little, love song for a special lady.
This is like a dare to play the famous Casablanca scene. And Manny gets it. That's why there's that why don't ya at the end.
Sing a little bit of that song, why don't you?
Well, I only have this part. Bone wagon.
I like it.
And that was Manny being honest. I'd like you to notice it because it's very easy to overlook. It's plain, it's short, it's a little boring. But he's honestly happy that his friend Gladys can express his love in song.
You think she'll come in tonight?
Who, my special lady?
No, Meche.
You know what, Manny? I think she will. I got a feeling tonight's the night.
And that is the opposite of Gladys's love song. Manny just called Meche not a special lady.
You know, when we leave, I'm actually gonna miss this place.
Ah, Manny, why can't we just stay here? We got our fancy club, we got 3 squares a day. Max lets me take the bone wagon out on his kitty track once a week.
I really wish I could see Gladys race the cats.
Plus, we look good in these clothes.
Okay, I don't even know where to begin with this one. For one, Manny would never say this now.
It's an ugly pile of bones, like me.
Because he's now an expensive and well-tailored bag of bones, just like the original Katrina Calavera, whose name literally means expensively overdressed skeleton. But Gladys is a Zolo, just like this puppy over here, who, like Karen, guides souls through their journey in the underworld, in this case the Aztec Mictlan. But here, Manny's spirit guide, whose job should be to bring Manny through the 9 levels of Mictlan, is begging Manny to stop. Please don't go. This reminds me of all the characters that tell Rufus to stop fixing things, please. This doesn't seem like something an ordinary Zolo would do with an ordinary soul in an ordinary Aztec Mictlan. But Gladys is an extraordinarily large Zolo, and Manny is extremely like Katrina Calavera, and more so in here too than at any other time. He is most real, most true to himself when he's most fake. The paradox is astounding. But why would Gladys wish for Manny to stop here at maximum Katrina? Unless Gladys knows that Manny's journey doesn't take him anywhere better.
Gladys, I can't live in this world forever. It's not where I belong.
Where does he imagine he would belong?
I've got to find Meche and help her, because if it weren't for me, she'd have been on that train a year ago.
Okay, Manny.
Well, I'll let you get back to practicing.
I don't need to practice, man.
And this level of guilt doesn't make any sense. He knows that everyone's ticket got stolen, and that he was the only one who didn't have anything to do with it. So, in this episode, I've just shown you all the ways in which Manny dresses like Rick from Casablanca. And I've shown you that he doesn't act quite like Rick from Casablanca. He wears Rick's clothes and role as a costume. He sets up Calavera Cafe to be a giant prop for his act. He even gets himself a nice little audience in Lupe. But then, instead of fitting himself to the costume, he makes it his own. He uses that role for his own purposes. You could say that he's appropriated Rick's role for himself. As we go on, I'm not going to point out that many Casablanca references. I will as they come along. But I am going to reveal to you why it makes perfect sense to dress like a straight male romantic lead when you're trying to prove to everyone that you're not in love with Meche. So, please be kind, share, like, upvote, subscribe, so that I know that people like these things and may want to see more videos.